Well, I'm here with Roger Wardy. I'm pretty pumped, mate, to get a little bit of your time while you're driving through the streets. It's the
Yeah,
King of Kensington, Kingsford, and Randwick. Here he
yeah.
is, Roger Wardy.
Daz, good to see you.
Thanks for giving me some of your precious time, mate. I know you're a busy man.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of questions for you.
yes,
Um, when you started in real estate,
yes,
talk to me about that start and
yep.
and talk to me about maybe the difference between what you knew then and what you know now.
Okay, so when I first started, I was completely green, like dropped in deep end sales. So I wasn't an associate. Well, really, no one wanted to take me on, to be honest. I went to 19 interviews, 18 said no. The 19th said yes, and that's when
Amazing.
Kylie Walsh came into the picture.
Amazing.
Yeah, so she gave me my first chance at Di Jones, which I
Yeah.
was grateful for. And in terms of like how I first started, all I cared about was learning.
Yeah.
I didn't care about anything else, And then the way I thought about it was like, well, if the average agent starts at 9 and finishes at 5, right? If I get in at 6 and finish at 11, 11:30, my one day is their 2 days, right? So essentially, if I do that consistently, it compounds over time. So the 3 years of experience turns to 6, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like when someone goes training, right? Like someone does 10,000 hours of training compared to 5,000, you can see a dramatic difference. And even if the guy at 10,000 decides to take a break or something, the other guy has no chance of catching up. They're too far ahead. So that's how I continually think about it. And so when I first started, all I wanted to do was learn. And I didn't care about anything else besides learning. Because if you don't got the skill set, it's not going to work. So the skill set was the first thing I wanted to focus on. So sharpening the axe. And that was the main thing, my only focus at the start, was sharpening the axe, but also trying to understand how do I get listings when I'm out on my own, like, solo agent, never done leasing, never done nothing. And then where do I get listings from? So I started learning ways on prospecting. I love door knocking, cold calling, all that type of stuff. And I think my first 2.5 months, I got my first auction listing, which was 77 Rainbow Street in Kingsford. And I sold this old man's house. He was 88 years old. He goes, Roger, out of all the people I've sat down with, you're the one that I trust. And that gave me confidence to know the way I come across to someone isn't like, and I still kept it till now. Like I don't come across in this way that, like you're too perfect or trying to hide something, because someone switched on will pick up and go, well, what's this guy trying to hide, So I'm still myself in any presentation that I go to. It's just the advice that I give them and the recommendations I give them are the same that I give myself. Not in looking in terms from an agent's perspective or business perspective of going, okay, only self-interest. It's more based on their situation and giving them the options and letting them come to the choice of the option than what they want to do.
Rog, I've just heard about 9 pieces of gold in 2.5 minutes, pal. Like, thank you. I just want to sort of thin slice that a bit for a second. I had 3 or 4 key things. Like, number one, when you first got in, your starting line wasn't the learning. Your starting line actually was the 18 rejections before you got a 19th yes. And that's incredible, mate. That's a testament to someone that's got resilience, that's got the attitude to keep going and keep having a crack, even after 18 rejections, mate. That's amazing. That's really cool. How many years on are you now?
So I first landed that job 6 May 2014. So just over 9 years.
9 years, the last 3 or 4 years, Chairman's Elite, Ray White, 2021, 22, 23, Chairman's Elite. Mate, when did you move from being an individual salesperson, and just to reflect on a couple of the other things you said also, so it was the resilience to handle the rejection, the work ethic. You've just told me that if the average punter does 9 to 5 and you do 6 to 11.
Failure does not register. Failure does not register in my mind. Losing does not register in my mind either. So even if I lose a listing, right, that I don't see that as a loss. I look at why I lost it and what do I need to improve to keep moving forward. And I did that recently too. Like at the start of the year, man, I lost 5 listings in a row. I don't lose 5 listings in a row, you know? So, like, when that happened, I worked out what the common denominator was in those 5 listings, and I go, well, this is what I've got to adjust and fix. And then after that, I listed the next 18 out of 20, you know?
Beautiful.
So it's kind of just always continually progressing and wanting and needing to learn where you need touch-ups and not focus on your 9 good points, but focus on the 1, 2 that are bad, because that's where you need to improve it.
I caught up with Nathan from Bell in Parramatta this week or a couple of weeks ago, and very much like you've just said that failure doesn't register. He said to me, Darren, our family, we have a 100-year view of things. So even if we don't win this year, even if we don't win this quarter, this month, this listing today, we're going to win in 30 or 40 years. You just won't get rid of us. We're staying here. Right. This is what we're doing. And I think 100%. that long-term view of things, Rog, and that shift to, you know, every loss isn't a loss. It's actually a learning. It's an insight. It's a win, you know.
Benefits you either way.
Yeah, that's awesome attitude to retain, mate. Tell me, you talked about auctions a second ago. So you're a convert. You do the bulk of your business is auctions. Is that right?
Yeah, so we do like majority auctions, and we do some expressions of interest and some for sale. It just depends on the product and what needs to be applied to that product.
Yeah, that's good.
So we base it off product.
That's a good attitude. And tell me, what do you think are a couple of the key elements that make a really good auction practitioner?
Yeah, so I think someone that's extremely high attention to detail, and what I mean by that is not just going through the motions of going, oh yeah, to the buyer, like what's your budget and this and that, you know, like you kind of want to, what you want to do is you got an onion, right? All agents, what they usually do, the typical traditional ones, they'll focus on the outside layer of that onion. What we do is we drill straight to the center. So we'll go through layer by layer, and then we'll ask them questions to flush them out. So they won't even know, but we'll know exactly what cards they're holding without them actually showing us, given the questions that we ask them. So we'll know everything, and we'll know how to align them from a price point of view, and then progressively with our dialogue, we'll increase the price, feel them out. You know, do they lose interest here? Don't they lose interest here? They lose interest then, and we pull back a little bit with that client. Every conversation we have with every buyer on every listing is always different. No two are the same, because that's how we maximize the price for the properties we sell. Even my worst competitor can't even say I get bad prices. Like, they can't say that. An owner will look at them and go, well, you're lying. Prove it. But they can't even say that, you know?
So you do a great job in...
That was my goal from day one.
You do a great job in getting prices that your competitors can't sort of hold you up. You mentioned attention to detail. Any other one or two key things you think in terms of auction practice that's important?
Yeah, you can't. It depends on the caliber of property as well. So, like, if the caliber's like at the really top end range of the market, and you know there's not many buyers there, like in that market at that price point, then you know to do a bit of an extended campaign. But you also know to update the owner that this may take a little longer, and patience is key with it.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too. If it's like a mid-range property, then okay, you run the normal course. You know, you want to try to guide an attractive price point that you know you'll get multiple buyers wanting to buy it at that price any day of the week. If you guide it too high and you don't have that conversation with the owner, then the campaign will go stale, because it'll stay on the market forever. You've backtracked, and then what happens is buyers look at it and they go, well, the guide's dropping. Why is it dropping? There must be no interest. But even if you start it lower and then you increase the guide after the first week, then the buyer looks at it and goes, shit, why is it increased? There's interest, you know? So it's a kind of perspective and mentality of it, the whole psychology behind it.
I get it. That's good, Rog. Tell me quickly, and I'm just conscious of your time, and I'm sure we're going to get another 10 of these done over the next 10 years, mate. But I appreciate it. The question I have for you also is that split between, I lost you back. I guess, when was the moment in your trajectory? Because, what sort of volume are you doing at the moment? You don't mind if I ask you?
Yeah, we sell between 45 to 50 a year.
Okay.
Yep.
Good going. And you got a couple of team members. When did you decide to put a team member into your business?
Yeah, so so pretty much like around the 4.5 year mark, that's where I wanted to put a team on. and the principal I was working for was like, no, you're not ready, blah, blah. I knew I was ready. So, like, we probably about probably early on into the 5th year, right? I didn't just put one on, I put two. So I put an EA and I put an associate, same time. I had the money saved up. I didn't care what anyone told me. Like, all right, it might slow down a little bit when I get two people on because I've got to teach them and stuff like that. But once they're up and running, then things just flow like clockwork. And that's what, for me, you kind of got to base it on, you know, sorry, I'm just getting a few calls.
All good.
Yeah. You got to kind of base it on, shit. 1 second. I just had my 4 calls in a row from different people, you know? Yeah. So, like, I based it on my own, how I felt about it, how comfortable I felt about, because I was comm only, right? Like, it's hard because you gotta like pre-plan everything. So, like, I pre-plan literally everything 10 steps ahead, and I look at big picture. So, so that's why for me, I based it on how I felt, and I felt that I was ready to do it. So that's why I did do it. You know?
How long was the dip for you? You mentioned the dip.
Yep.
How long was the dip? Because often
it was probably,
if it's not only their skill sets getting up to speed, often it's your skill sets getting up to speed to teach other people their skill sets, right? And managing and leading a team is different to selling houses, right?
Of course.
So your dip, how long would you have said that dip in performance went for?
Well, when I put them on, right, that's when I was actually accelerating.
Awesome.
So when I was accelerating, as they came on, right,
they
I
gave
was
you
teaching
capacity.
them, but I already had like 10 listings signed up.
Yeah, nice.
So what happened was that we prepared them, we put them up, we're still turning over, but I'm still teaching them in that period as well. So to me, there wasn't really a dip. It slows down in terms of like my time's been invested there, right? And listings slowed down a little bit in terms of what I was signing up. But essentially, we had enough listings to keep us going where it didn't look like we were taking a step back. You know?
My question for you, let's say I'm a salesman 3, 4, 5 years in, 15 years in, doesn't matter how many years in, but I'm at that level of capacity. I'm sort of 20, 30 deals a year.
Yes.
Starting to feel like I need more capacity.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for them to do what you've done and grow your turnover through a team? You know, what advice would you have in there?
So I hire everyone on behavior, right? So like, I don't care how much experience you have, it's behavior. If you've got the behavior that I'm after, I'll hire you, right? So if the skill set I can teach you, the behavior is something that comes with emotional maturity. And if the emotional maturity is not there, how long's a piece of string? That's where you're going to waste your time. So that's how I look at hire someone. So for me, if I was in that position, right, and I had the money saved up, I put on an associate, I put on an assistant straight away, ASAP. Both of them are together. Because the reason you want the assistant, the EA, right, is to take care of all the admin stuff. No associate, no salesperson likes admin. So if you put an associate in, they start hating their job because of that, then you're just going to churn and burn people. What you want to try and do is retain. That's the key, right? So, see, my EA now has been with me for 2.5 years. My sales associate's been with me for 1.5 years. I've got another one that I just put on. I've got a VA that's also been with us for 2 years. So it's like you want to split each role and delegate each task to suit their strengths. So that's what I do, and I don't like my associates doing admin. Like their role is maybe 15-20% admin maximum.
Yeah,
you know?
cool.
Yeah, so the bulk of the
Income
admin with the
production.
EAs. That's right. And then it works more efficiently that way. And then it gives me more time to drill in on their skill set, to increase their skill set. I'm not even up and running properly yet. You know, like in my mind, my team's still got a long way to go. And it's just like, it's like once it's well oiled, it'll be like clockwork. Like that was the thing for me. So that's
Rod, great to talk to you. I will interview you again. I'm just conscious that these things are sort of a 15-minute sort of window into your business and life, mate. As always, bucket loads of energy. work ethic that can't be beaten. You can't
Yeah.
beat someone working twice as hard as you.
No.
And thirdly, mate, I mean, great to hear in terms of putting a team on and going through that leadership development. You've like there's so much to unpack there, and I can't wait to Q&A you again and get you involved in a few other things. If anyone who's listening to this has got some questions, I'm happy to introduce you to Rog. But great story, mate. 18 no's for 1 yes in the end. Chairman's elite 3-4 years in a row. Mate, can't wait to see what the next 20 years holds.
Oh, yeah, me too. Don't worry.
Good on you, mate. Thanks so much for your time, Rog.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you.
Take care, brother.
Bye.